What up, fans, and welcome back to the MMA channel with me, Marisol. Today we're going to be talking about the co-main event of UFC 249, which was in fact the real main event of UFC 249, which was Zhang Weili versus Joanna Jedrzejczyk. And I am positive that all of you witnessed this past Saturday Zhang Weili defeating Joanna Jedrzejczyk via split decision in what was the greatest women's MMA fight in UFC history, if not in the entire sport. And with that being said, there have been people asking if there should be a rematch or will be a rematch. And I also think it is important to talk about what this now means for women's MMA. So let's get into it. Like I said, and like I'm sure you all witnessed, Zhang Weili defeated Joanna Jedrzejczyk on Saturday via split decision. It was a phenomenal fight. Both women showed so much heart, so much grit, so much talent and skill. The fight was just like tit for tat, and they were just not backing down all 5 rounds. They caused major damage, and just both fighters by the end of the fight looked completely different. And throughout the entire fight, I wasn't really sure how exactly to score it since it was so evenly matched. Other people have made the same comments as well. And throughout the fight, I definitely gave the 5th round to Zhang Weili. But again, leading up to that, I wasn't sure. And then the 4th round, Zhang Weili was starting to look like she was gassing out. And Joanna Jedrzejczyk was definitely pushing the pace more, controlling the fight more in that round. The 3rd round, there was a little bit of that as well. So it was just a bit of a craziness there, not knowing how exactly to score it and feeling kind of anxious that maybe Zhang Weili was going to lose it. If you saw my prediction video, then you will know that I was thinking that Zhang Weili was going to win this, and of course she did. But there was a time there during those 3rd and 4th rounds where I was getting a little bit nervous for her. But ultimately she did pull the victory and is still the strawweight champion. Now, talking about a potential rematch. Of course, we would have to wait until they're both healthy, but I don't think that that is even going to be the case. Both women have been reported as leaving the hospital without any significant injuries, which is phenomenal to hear. That's definitely what we always want to hear when it comes to fights. But still, we're not exactly completely sure at the time of recording this video what the full extent of their injuries actually are and how long that's going to take for them to recover. But again, even if that were to be the case and they both have speedy recoveries, we have Andrade versus Namajunas happening on April 18th. So I think it is most likely that the winner of that fight will be facing Zhang Weili later this year, probably in the fall, winter time would make the most sense. So I don't think we're going to get the rematch this year. If anything, it'll happen next year, maybe next spring. And that will still be dependent upon Zhang Weili having a successful title defense against either Andrade or Namajunas. So yeah, not anytime soon, maybe next year. And now when it comes to what this now means for women's MMA, this is something that I've spent a lot of time thinking about over the years, especially when we talk about, say, maybe someone like Ronda Rousey, which I did a video about this a while back. I'll link that down below. When it comes to women's MMA in general and MMA as well, it's such a young sport. And then within that, women's MMA is even younger. That when we have fighters, like I said, Ronda Rousey, people often criticize her as being sort of the big fish in a small pond, where she was able to be so dominant for such a long time because the talent pool just really wasn't there to challenge her. We also saw that apply to Chris Cyborg. We see that now with Amanda Nunes, and people saying that there's no one left to challenge her in the bantamweight division and whatever semblance of a 145 division there is in the UFC for women. So this seems to be a bit of a pattern that we see specifically in women's MMA in this current time. And I just think that those tides are changing and they're shifting, because when we look at Zhang Weili and who she is and what she's been able to do in such a short amount of time, I think it's indicative of the talent pool in women's MMA truly expanding and getting deeper and just more talented and more skillful. So Zhang Weili has only been in the UFC for about 2 years. She's been able to become champion. And then now when we look at this current fight, because people, I think leading up to the fight, weren't really giving Joanna Jedrzejczyk all the credit she deserved, because she is absolutely phenomenal. She essentially built the strawweight division. She reigned supreme for 3 years, building that division. Nobody could touch her until Namajunas defeated her. And that is definitely noteworthy, especially when we look at someone like that, someone who just thrived as champion and was so dominant for so long. Then take that skill and that talent to face someone who had never gone 5 rounds before, and then go the distance, and then that person being Zhang Weili not back down and then look fresh and during the 5th round is absolutely phenomenal. And I think it's indicative of how the talent pool in the women's divisions is expanding. And as time goes on, we're going to see more well-rounded women's fighters and women's fighters who just have incredible skill sets, and where the history of MMA just within their lives is just as deep as we do see with other male fighters as well. So ultimately, I think that where we are now with women's MMA, where we're going to see a lot more talent and many more skilled fighters coming in who have been doing martial arts for probably even their entire lives, like we see with a lot of the men fighters as well. But let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. I'm curious to see how you scored the fight. I know that many of you also did predict Joanna Jedrzejczyk as being the winner, so I'm especially curious to see how you scored the fight as well. Again, let me know down below, and as always, don't forget to like this video and to subscribe for more content. I'll be seeing you in the next one.